Hello and welcome to The Federal. This is Shweta Tripathi, and we are in conversation with the editor-in-chief of The Federal, Mr. S. Srinivasan, on the escalating tension amidst India and Pakistan as attacks and counter-strikes have reached the third day on Friday. There were incidents of drone attacks in various parts of northern and western India yesterday. And to understand more, sir, I would like to ask, what is the current status and the situation? Where is it heading?
Yeah, it's a third day, since the confrontation started between India and Pakistan following a terror attack in Pahalgam
Yeah.
uh, 2 weeks ago. Now, following which India did its own operation and attacked the terror headquarters, at least 9 places in Pakistan.
Yes.
So Pakistan retaliated by attacking civilian and military establishment. On day two, you heard about they have struck 15 places
Yeah.
which were military establishment. What we are hearing now in today's briefing, they have gone ahead and attacked some 36 places
Yes.
in the last 24 hours, and which included both civilian and
Mm.
military establishments. And in that sense, there has been a widening of the confrontation, to which India has given its response.
Right.
Our external affairs has been saying that the response has been, adequate and proportionate and
Right.
responsible. That's the statement being used. So
Yeah.
that's what they have done. Now,
Mm.
what it appears is at this point, the overall confrontation is happening more with the use of drones and
Right.
also, sending UAVs, so
Mm.
and then
Yes.
missiles.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of confrontations right now happening. So
Right.
it seems yesterday evening there were a lot of fireworks over Jammu. If
Mm.
you saw live television pictures, you could see a lot of
Yeah.
you know kind of light, well lit sky where you could see a lot of traces. And then there
Yeah.
was a counter given by Indian armed forces.
Right.
Today, they said in the briefing that 300 to 400 Turkish-made drones were
Drones.
sent, and
Right.
these were perhaps some of them were armed. And
Mm.
I went back and checked what kind of arms. It can carry light machine guns. It can also carry grenades. So it can be lethal in that sense.
Right.
Uh, and also, some of them were sent as more for surveillance and taking visuals. I mean, these kind of activities. But
Right.
according to our forces, all of them were shot down. And for a
Mm-hmm.
huge drama you saw in the sky, fortunately, there have been no casualties. You didn't hear
Mm-hmm.
anything. So, in
Yeah.
that sense, Indian, air defense system was stout, and it managed to kind of
Mm.
stave off any serious harm to the people, because they
Right.
had struck the main town, Jammu town.
Mm. Yeah.
So, on the other hand, India went and neutralized their air defense system in Lahore.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Now, what it appears is kind of Pakistan seemed to be assessing and testing what kind of capabilities our air defense system. This is almost like what Hamas has done against Israel, sending
Mm.
lots of low cost rockets, and these rockets are fired one after another, and there was
Mm.
a rapid fire, and it was trying to kind of penetrate what they call as Iron Dome, and that was the testing. And then when they launched too many, of course, many of those slipped and fell and caused a lot of harm there. So
Mm.
probably that kind of attempt was made yesterday, but then fortunately nothing much happened. And
Right.
India did, when it tried to do a counter, it kind of came across that Pakistan hasn't completely closed its airspace. Civilian
Yes.
aircraft are still flying, which
Yeah.
kind of held off. Probably the military establishment didn't say whether we held our responses. It did we held, but it did. They say that it suggested that
Mm.
complete. lack of concern
Absolutely.
for the
Yeah.
people and very irresponsible behavior. That's what came
Right.
through. So
Right.
basically, it appears that
Mm.
Pakistan is trying to see what kind of response comes. So it's
Mm.
actually at that level where the confrontation is happening, whereas the shelling continued on the border, and
Mm.
again there
Mm.
were specific instances which were cited. Day before, we heard that one Gurudwara was hit, but
Yeah.
today we were briefed that actually, there was a Christian missionary which was hit, and
Right.
at least two children who were in a nearby hostel, they
Mm.
were,
Mm.
unfortunately, they died, and there were
Right.
nuns and others who kind of
Yeah.
escaped by taking shelter, timely shelter.
Mm.
So the feeling here is is Pakistan trying to communalize the situation. So
Right.
these
Yeah.
are the kind of things, and two other things came out today that in the later today in the IMF World Bank meeting, India would
Mm.
stoutly oppose, and then that any further funding of IMF
Mm.
funding,
Yes.
the donors should carefully look into the performance and also the way the funds are being used before opening
Mm.
their purse strings for Pakistan.
Yeah, so like in India did say that in at the IMF meeting we will present our concerns and point out how that should be done in a very sensitive and in a very careful manner. So, what can we expect India to present at the IMF meeting?
Look, it's a meeting of the core committee. It's not that India will directly get involved and take a decision.
Mm.
So what India can certainly is influence the core members. See,
Right.
the what happens is every country has a certain a proportion of what is called SDR reserves with the IMF. Against
Right.
that, some withdrawal takes place. Now, India has become a net donor for last last decade or so.
Mm.
So, because of our good financial management, we have managed to do that, and our forex reserves are really very good. So, we don't have any
Mm.
such problem. But what we
Right.
could certainly do is kind of influence other donors and tell them about the kind of things going on in Pakistan. The other
Mm.
thing is, of course, the World Bank is also involved because IMF and World Bank are two different mandates. IMF
Mm.
deals more with balance of payment situation, and World Bank deals with development loans.
Mm.
So I think India would kind of ask the donors to look into the track record of
Mm.
the utilization of funds given
Mm.
by World Bank, whether on the ground actually these development activities have taken place. So these kind
Mm.
of influence India can certainly make, and any
Right.
denial of immediate forex or SDRs, would cause a certain financial distress to Pakistan. I think the attempt is to put
Mm.
pressure on the
Mm.
donors.
Right. On the other hand, we have seen that Pakistan has been denying attacking several locations in India, as claimed by MEA today in the briefing also. How do we look at this? Why is there a denial of attacks when they have come forward and accepted that India has been counter-attacking?
But look, we are in a very different warfare. We are living in a very different time where communication is very important and
Right.
messaging is very important. In a war situation, obviously there'll be war-like situation. It's still not. I won't say a complete war has broken out yet. See, a lot of
Mm.
misinformation. What we have been seeing last 3 days is a barrage of kind of misinformation which is floating in
Mm.
social media and other forums, and even
Mm.
senior political leaders across the border trying to spread, and all kinds of things are happening.
Right.
And the accusation from India has been that look, we only hit your terror camps, whereas you are
Right.
striking at civilians and
Mm.
military establishments. So of course, Pakistan would deny that. In fact,
Right.
the Indian standpoint is that instead of keeping civilian aircraft from harm's way, kind of telling them that this airspace is closed because we are stuck at India and they may retaliate, knowing well they allowed civilian aircrafts to fly through that
Mm.
area and they behaved very irresponsibly. So what is currently happening is also a lot of information war, where uh, Pakistan is trying to deny that it has any, it has done any wrongdoing. It's a kind of uh, also to tell the world that look, we are not as we are being painted by
Right.
our rivals. So that's a kind of effort. That's what it is doing. But
Mm.
but the real truth is, if you see the destruction which has happened, the visuals which we saw along the
Yes.
border in Jammu, in
Yeah.
Kashmir, parts of Punch, Rajouri, we had seen many houses shelled, and the
Yes.
deaths which have taken place, the 16 deaths which have taken place. So,
Yeah.
end of
Yeah.
the day, Pakistan has to account for that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, that is one of the growing concern as the civilians are being harmed. At the same time, on the diplomatic level, are we seeing any sort of development? Is there some progress between the two country representatives having a talk over this?
I think it's moving pretty slowly. Though today, once again, the foreign secretary said that India has been in touch with various, the MEA, Minister for External Affairs, is in touch with his counterpart in England,
Mm,
he's in other countries also. Uh,
mm,
there have been talks going on, and yesterday, as we said, Mark Rubio, the Secretary of State of US, he had a chat with. Uh, MEA, Jaishankar, and he also had a chat with his Pakistani counterpart. But
mm,
the statement which Vance made, like I explained
mm,
yesterday, that
mm,
we don't want to get into the situation. It
mm.
seems that America is still kind of it hasn't entered into the scene right now. It is still
Mm.
keeping a distance, and I think the countries, India and Pakistan, the way it is in the subcontinent, all other countries are also kind of, they made
Mm.
their initial signals and then they are watching the situation as it develops. I think
Right.
we have to still wait and watch how it develops. But certainly,
Right.
one thing is very clear, that no one would like the war to continue. So I'm sure
Correct.
the world is looking with a lot of concern. But how
Mm.
how much this seriousness, how much concern has increased, we'll have to just wait and see how it develops.
Right, right. So, as we conclude, I would want to know, like, as the situation is evolving. I mean, it's still evolving, and we don't clearly know where this is heading. Can we still expect a further stronger escalation from Pakistan, and of course, India would be responding to that?
See, currently the way the war we have seen in the past, whether we've seen various mobilization. See the way it happened in 1971, or way it happened, Operation Parakram, which happened after Parliament attack in 2001, or
Right.
the other. There is a troop mobilization which takes place. The
Mm.
forces are sent on the border. There is a naval mobilization also which takes place. The ships are
Mm.
all
Okay.
naval
Mm.
exercise begin. So currently you see that largely the war is being, I mean, the uh, precursor to the war, I would say, is being done with the help of drones and missiles.
Mm.
So it's a very different nature of confrontation we are witnessing now.
Right.
Therefore, where is it heading? We would again, whether because the mobilization of the troops on the ground would certainly take a certain time. Whether it would reach that stage, we'll have to wait and see. But as of now, it's
Mm.
largely being fought through missiles and drones. And like I
Right.
said earlier in the beginning, that it seems to be more at a level of assessment. What are the capabilities?
Mm.
Because here also a lot of the new thing here is a lot of Chinese equipments are also being seen. Like yesterday,
Mm.
we heard Chinese planes were used, Chinese missiles were
Yes.
used. Today, we
Yeah.
heard Turkish drones were used.
Yeah.
So I'm, I think in some ways, also the the will of the state is being tested, or India would go, Pakistan would see, and then so we are also equally retaliating in equal measure to see Pakistan.
Right.
So I think the country's resolve is also being tested in the current stage.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for your inputs.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.